So tell my listeners why you found interest in interviewing me on your show. What do you think about Israel, and why is this important for your viewers?
Oh, okay. Well, as I previously mentioned, I came to find out about you in 2014, and I've always been pro-Israel. It's just something I've always been, because my mother, who used to be Catholic, became a born-again Christian when she came to Australia, and then she became very well educated regarding the Jews and just the Holocaust and all that kind of stuff. And so a lot of my bedtime stories, oddly, were Holocaust stories, so they weren't the nicest things to go to sleep to, but they made me very sympathetic to the plight of the Jews. And so I've always known on a biblical scale, on a biblical level, specifically, I've always known that the land, the claim to the land is real and valid, and so that's kept me interested in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict for many, many years. And so when I saw your story on 60 Minutes...
David Ha'ivri believes his Jewish settlement, built on Palestinian land in the West Bank,
we've been here for 25 years,
has been prescribed by the Bible and must be enforced by the sword. So all this land should be Israel?
All of this land should be Israel.
In Australia, I'm not sure how many 60 Minutes you've done. I'm sure there's an American equivalent and any equivalents. When I saw the Australian version of it, I was quite shocked, because it was my first introduction ever to the media misleading the people. At least I thought it was misleading. Maybe other people thought it was accurate. But yeah, I remember they asked you a question. They said, according to international law, this is Palestinian land. And then you said, what is international law? That was your response. And the reporter was dismayed. She sort of rolled her eyes at you like, what the hell?
But under international law, this isn't even your land.
What is international law?
But yeah, so...
That's right. Think me of that. I think that I told you that it seems to me that international law is big countries telling little countries what they need to do.
That's exactly what you said. Yeah, it was a really good response. She didn't like it. She couldn't understand it. But
International law is big countries telling little countries what they need to do.
But isn't Israel the big guy here, telling the Palestinians, the little guy, what to do?
That's right. Israel is the big guy, and Israel is telling the Palestinians, you cannot shoot rockets into our cities. And if you shoot rockets into our cities, we're going to fight back. Even though we're the big guy, even though we're stronger, you cannot threaten our population.
Seeing you argue for the Israeli state with such passion, can you not understand the Palestinians having that same passion to have some right to this land?
Yes, I appreciate that. And the answer is no. They cannot have it, not here. There's no place for a Palestinian state here. This is the Jewish state.
Obviously, yeah, you have to obey the law of the land to a degree, but I think they were trying to say that Israel's the big guy and that the little guy is Palestine. But they don't even acknowledge the fact that Israel's the little guy surrounded by a bunch of neighbours who are all bad guys. So, that gets lost in the mix of things.
That does get lost in the mix. And it's wonderful that YouTube and these other social media platforms provide an ability for regular people like you and I to discuss these matters and to place them out there.
You're a strategist. You're an accomplished individual. But keep going. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine. I'm really glad to connect with you and to be able to have you on my show and to be on your show and to expose these truths to all of our listeners and viewers.
What is your opinion on the BDS, Boycott Divest Sanction?
BDS, I think that the people who promote the BDS, boycotting Israeli products, are I'm trying to put this into a term.
Correct way.
Into a politically correct, into a very, very defined way. These people lack integrity. They are biased against Israel. They don't really care about. They claim to be human rights activists or concerned even for the Palestinian so-called population under Israel's control and so forth. And they cause more damage than good for the same people that they claim to be fighting for.
The leaders of the BDS movement have no interest in a two-state solution. They reject the concept of Israel as the nation state of the Jewish people. The BDS movement deliberately fools people. It claims to be opposed only to Israel's settlement policy, when in fact it's opposed to Israel's very existence. You may have sympathy for the Palestinians and wish to help them. I share that sympathy. But by aligning yourself with the BDS movement, you are aligning yourself with people who don't want to see both sides thrive. They want to see one side, Israel, destroyed. They don't merely want to see a change in policy. They want to see an end to the nation state of the Jewish people. Do you want to spend your time and moral energy supporting such a cause? For decent people, the answer is no.
Yeah.
They're not ignorant of the facts. They ignore the fact that Israel is providing benefits to the Palestinian population in Judea and Samaria.
And water to Jordan, among other things.
They ignore the fact that they're fighting against the so-called settlement enterprise, the expansion of Jewish communities over the Green Line in the West Bank, and so forth. And they refuse to acknowledge the fact that this enterprise has brought with it a great amount of workplaces for the Palestinian population and are providing work opportunities that no one else is providing. So there are tens of thousands of Palestinians who are, thanks to the fact that Israel exists in Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, thousands of Palestinian families have a good source of income.
Yes.
They're making Israeli wages that are 3 times greater than the wages in the Palestinian Authority. They have work benefits and they have safe workplaces. And that's just one side of the story. Israel invests very heavily in infrastructure in Judea and Samaria / the West Bank, building new roads, new and modern roads throughout the region. Anyone who lives here, Jew or Arab, Muslim or Christian, enjoys those infrastructure that would not be there if Israel had not invested in this area. On the bottom line, the Israeli Arabs have the longest life expectancy in the region, in any country in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And the Palestinian Arabs who live under so-called Israeli occupation have the second longest lifespan in the Middle East, in any of the countries in the region. So if Israel has provided an atmosphere where people's lives are longer, that means that their standard of living must be better. And these so-called human rights or activists in the BDS who are looking to punish Israel for being here ignore all of that. And they also ignore They also ignore the situation in all of the other countries in the Middle East and elsewhere in the world where they're suffering.
North Korea.
I mean, North Korea, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Lebanon.
Yeah.
Egypt. There's no there's no end to countries that are oppressing their people in ways that are horrible in comparison to what's going on in Israel.
Absolutely.
And these so-called BDS are not bothering to put any pressure on those countries.
No.
On the contrary, many of those countries are countries that are supporting the BDS. So they are hypocrites, to say the least.
Yeah. It's disappointing. It's disappointing that they don't do their research. Or they probably have done their research, they just don't care. They're purposely perpetuating a false narrative to get their outcome that they desire.
Yeah. Many of the BDS activists have an anti-Semitic agenda that they hide behind this claim that they're looking to fight for the Palestinians. They don't really care about the Palestinians. They care about a front to use to oppose the Jews.
Well,
the Jews are there?
Yeah. I was just going to say, before the establishment of Israel, a Palestinian state was what's the word I'm looking for? Was proposed, and it was declined by all the Arab nations. But then all of a sudden, when Israel gets it, oh, it's Palestinian state. It's just coincidental, but all of a sudden they don't. All of a sudden it belongs to the Palestinians when they originally opposed it. So there's no winning either way because the other side doesn't know what they want.
The other side knows what they want. They want to take away from the Jews or hurt the Jews, or they don't want a Jewish state to exist.
Yes, but they don't want a Palestinian state many years ago. All of a sudden they want a Palestinian state now. And then they get offered a Palestinian state 5 separate times, and 5 separate times they get rebuffed. The Jews get rebuffed.
If Israel just allowed the Palestinians to have a state of their own, there would be peace in the Middle East, right? That's what you hear from UN ambassadors, European diplomats, and most college professors. But what if I told you that Israel has already offered the Palestinians a state of their own, and not just once, but on 5 separate occasions? Each time Israel has agreed to a Palestinian state, the Palestinians have rejected the offer, often violently. So if you're interested in peace in the Middle East, maybe the answer is not to pressure Israel to make yet another offer of a state to the Palestinians. Maybe the answer is to pressure the Palestinians to finally accept the existence of a Jewish state.
So what can you really do? You guys are the ones that keep saying, okay, you keep capitulating to their desires, but they still keep saying no. So like, what more can you do? There's, maybe people should stop asking you to do everything, you meaning Israel, and start asking the neighbours to be a bit more peaceful, because it's obviously not Israel, as far as I'm concerned.
I think that would be wise.
Yeah, definitely.
You should be an advisor to the organizations that actually wish to peace.
Well, yeah, of course. I want peace in the Middle East just like everyone else. But yeah, the two-part state doesn't seem to be the answer, because if it was, wouldn't it have been done by now and successfully executed?
That's right. I think that the two-state idea was a bad suggestion to begin.
Yeah, it sounds good, but it just doesn't work.
Process bringing in the PLO from Tunis. The PLO are not good people. The PLO are a terrorist organization that their whole objective is terrorism.
Yeah.
And they were in Tunis on the verge they were bankrupt. It was all over. And bringing them back to life and bringing them into Judea and Samaria and establishing the Palestinian Authority, giving them a place of government, was a huge mistake. And of course, establishing a Palestinian state in Judea and Samaria is a huge mistake, because this area is the heartland of Israel. This is the very essence. You asked me earlier about Zionism. This is the core of Zionism, the idea of return to the city of David, the city of Shechem, the city of Nablus, of Hebron, Beit El, Ophrah. All of these biblical places are the heart of the essence of the return of the Jewish people to our land. This is where our history occurred. This is where we have the strongest connection. So the idea of giving this land, particularly this land, over to the PLO to establish another Arab country is a huge mistake to begin with, and it's proven to be a failure.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I have done a bit of YouTube watching, as I tend to do, and in one of the YouTube videos I saw, they stated that in every society where Jews are eradicated from that or expelled from that particular society, the economy actually tends to do worse. So you would think that by just the factor of infrastructure, social, economical booming, and all of those things, because right now Israel prospers when it comes to environmentalism, sciences, the medical sciences. You would think that your Arab neighbours have paid attention to this and would utilize the intelligence of the Jewish people, which is, everyone knows that the Jewish people in general are known for their intelligence and for working really hard and all these sorts of things. Utilize all of that, work together, and actually help grow and prosper the Middle East. But that doesn't seem to be a clue that they've taken in. Would you say that you've you would agree with that analysis?
I totally agree with that analysis. I think that leaders of countries who wish to cause benefit for their people, if the Arab countries would think on terms that we hear from President Trump, as Trump says, America first. If Jordan were to say Jordan first, instead of worrying about what their neighbors think about them, would realize that Israel has a means to provide benefit to the people of Jordan. Israel is a world leader in water preservation and in water reclamation. And being that Israel is here in the middle of the Middle East, where we have such a water crisis, Israel and all of our neighbors suffer from water crisis. Israel has used our technology to develop means of reclaiming water and of taking water from the sea and making it drinkable. Israel could provide this science, this wisdom, to any country that is in good relation with Israel.
Yeah.
That's just one point. The agriculture. Israel has taught people in Africa how to produce food, how to produce vegetables and agriculture to feed their people. Wouldn't it be smart for our neighbors to be at peace with Israel and to enjoy this technology for the benefit of their people instead of wasting their resources on hostilities towards Israel?
Yeah. It would be, wouldn't it? Was that a rhetorical question, or were you asking me a question? So, what would you characterize yourself in terms of Muslims? I'm sure many people have falsely, like the way Trump gets falsely mischaracterized as an anti-Semite, which he very obviously isn't. Have you been called a Muslim hater, someone who hates Muslims, which I can't imagine that that's even in your thinking, but I'm sure people think that because you want Israel to be Israel somehow that I'm assuming that someone would assume that to be racist. What is your personal feeling of Muslims? And yeah, obviously there are different sects, but yeah.
I'm a man of faith. I believe that in my own the teachings of my own religion, and I am appreciative of people who are faithful, who believe in God, who observe their faith, the teaching of their fathers and so forth. Of course, as long as it's peaceful, if their fathers are teaching them to hate Israel based on their faith, then I'm not fond of that, and I object to that.
Yes, that's how
so. I am opposed to radical Islam, radical hateful Islam, as I am opposed to anti-Semitic streams within the Christian or Catholic Church or anywhere else that might be found. But religion in general, as a base, as a foundation for values, is a great thing. And for that reason, I am appreciative of the Islamic faith. And I am very glad for people who observe their own religion and its teachings, again, as long as they're not teaching hate.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's why I mentioned the Imam of Peace earlier, because he has stated in several Twitter rants that the Jew is not my enemy. And in fact, I think he's from a subsect of Shia. So I think the Shia group, or at least the subsect that he's a part of, is quite peaceful and doesn't wish war with the Jew, doesn't teach hatred to the Jew. So I think people like that show that there is an element of progress that can happen, but will it ever happen is a different question.
Well, strength to the people who are teaching peaceful relations through the faith.
Yes, agreed. I think that's a pretty good spot to stop. Like, that was pretty poetic. Don't you reckon?
Dia, I want to thank you for this opportunity to be on your YouTube channel.
Thank you. I really appreciate you allowing it. It's very nice of you.
Yes, let's do a theology next time.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
All right, I'll let you go.
Be well. Blessings to you.
Blessings to you. Bye.
Shalom.
Saboya. Una cucharita de hueso me regalaron por amistad. En la vereda de Belandia del municipio de Saboya. Una cucharita de hueso me regalaron por amistad. Y la cucharita se me perdió, la cucharita se me perdió. Y la cucharita se me perdió, y la cucharita se me perdió.